Hey guys, it's Soul with some more horrific visions for normal people. A series of guides and commentary where I take a class that I don't know how to play, like all of them. I gear it up with only outdoor world content and horrific visions, and then somehow complete a 5 chest run. We're in Orgrimmar today with my Mistweaver Monk. He's got an item level of 439 with an emphasis on the Sunrise Technique Azeroth trait, which makes my abilities inflict additional damage. He's using a few corruption pieces, including a level 2 Mind Flay that has an item level of 420, and he has a versatility and a crit proc. Woo woo. His cloak level is 10, which is 45% sanity resistance, and a neck level of 79. Crucible rank 3 is his main essence, and I also have the Ever Rising Tide, World Vein, and Formless Void for some extra stats. Those are all rank 3 and were bought with Echoes of Nyalotha. For talent, he's running Chi Wave, Celerity, Life Cycles, Tiger Tail Sweep, Diffuse Magic, Refreshing Jade Wind, and Focused Thunder, which is the only really important talent that I needed. For research, he's spec'd for solo play, and he has 1 point in Vision Hunter. With Goulash and Kebabs checked, let's get started. So I'm coming into Orgrimmar after Stormwind, so this is kind of like a hey, let's come down for the more difficult one because traditionally Stormwind is the more difficult um, of the horrific visions to do because of its narrow paths and whatnot. But you can't really underestimate either, especially since I'm coming this as a healer and this is my first time going through a full 5 chest run, or this is my first attempt doing it. So I go for the shaman as usual. It drops a totem a bit too early as usual as well, which always gives me some trouble. And because I'm Mistweaver, I need to, for the most part, be careful about my damage intake because I'm not really doing much of anything to keep myself alive other than relying on Goulash and maybe using something like Fortifying Brew or Life Cocoon to keep me alive while I kill these mobs, and then Goulash will just get me back up. So you can see my HP is dipping down like really low, really fast. So it's really important for me to just take out mobs very quickly, which fortunately isn't so bad to do as a Mistweaver Monk. So as I'm going through and taking care of this vial here, let me let you know. So I concentrated on Sunrise Technique, which is an Azerite trait that lets me inflict additional damage whenever I'm using abilities. So, by combining this with Thunder Focus T, that talent, towards the bottom of the talent row, I can apply my Sunrise Kick to multiple enemies, which means that they're all going to be afflicted with that debuff that lets them take additional damage. And from there, I can use something like Spinning Crane Kick, and I can apply a bunch, a lot of additional cleave damage to a bunch of enemies. It's really efficient for this particular run. So you're gonna see that pop up on my nameplate scrolling combat text quite a bit. So you saw me just kind of tear through those mobs once I got a little bit of stride. It's kind of early in the morning, so I'm just kind of getting started with getting into the groove. I think this was like the first of 3 vision runs that I did for during this stream over here. So I grabbed those mobs really quick by using a spinning crane cake and then rolled over, rolled over right to this boss over here. I have to deal with hot feet, which can be a little bit troublesome in Orgrimmar, depending on the kind of things that you're trying to avoid. In this case, hot feet can be pretty helpful with getting away from that big old decimator bolt that you definitely don't want to get hit by, otherwise you take some extra sanity damage. But with a couple of applications of Sunrise Technique, popping cooldowns, and using my Tiger Palm and Blackout Kick to apply that extra combination kick, that combined with Sunrise Technique is it's huge damage. Thunder Focus T is basically my DPS cooldown during these vision runs. So I'm going in, I'm heading over to Zakan's area, and this is that stretch that I particularly don't like. Like right there with me falling off like an idiot. This is one of the things that I know that I'm sure frustrate a lot of people about hot feet and dealing with this thing. As for the mobs, though, they're not so bad. The biggest one to worry about is this one right here, this elemental that casts that void buffet. So I'll use things like the leg sweep or oh, I forgot what that mez was. It's the one where I just kind of make him stun, sort of mesmerize him a little bit. I totally forgot the name of the technique, and you can definitely feel free to call me out. But you saw there, I was taking a lot of damage there. It was getting pretty dangerous, and at this point, I'm just kind of relying on Goulash to get me back up. I mean, I might hit myself with a mist every now and then here, but for the most part, I'm just kind of focused on getting towards the end. So I'm working the side here, excuse me, I'm working the side here trying to get past this little bit of a sort of shortcut. And here I was very unsuccessful with trying to get through before those mobs patrol away. Usually I try to get over here, and for the most part I'm successful. But I make it over. I one-shot that shaman with a Crucible of Flame, which felt pretty darn good. Proceeded to take care of these mobs with some sunrise techniques. Move over to the next mob, and yeah, cool. I one-shot that other one right there with a two stack of Crucible. Always feels good. And again, like you see me pop my T right there, so I can apply the sunrise technique on both of those mobs, take them out very quickly. And as a reminder, Thunder Focus T has a cooldown of only 30 seconds, so it's something that I can apply and reapply very quickly. Something that I mess up a lot on though is that I use it while my sunrise kick is on cooldown, so there's not really much that I can do there, and then I feel kind of down. So anyway, it's time to take on this guy. I open up with a Crucible. I think I open up with a Crucible. And by using this and Sunrise, I easily applied about 40% of his 40% damage, which is huge. And all of a sudden now he's at a little bit under 30, under 20. That was a really good bounce from I was able to get to that golden orb very, very quickly and take him out super quick. I think I'm kind of checking for a vial really quick, just to see if I can come out of this. So I'm at 3 orbs. I am at just a little bit of under half sanity. So I'm a little bit further ahead, or a little bit further along than my other characters normally are. Probably because of how the tuning is for healers. I mean, having these sorts of techniques available for a monk it was huge. It felt really good once I figured this thing out. I was like, okay, cool, I can do this, this, and this. And it just felt great. So anyway, we're moving on to Gaera's area, and we're dealing with Leaden Foot, unfortunately. But I'm a monk too, so I can easily roll my way out of things if I ever need to. And I'm spec for celerity, I believe, so I have 3 charges in my roll if I ever needed to really get out of dangerous stuff. So I start off with these mobs here. I clear them out. But I am starting to run low on sanity, and from here I just make a decision. You know what? I'll just go ahead and pop my orb here. I'm kind of losing a little bit of the gains that I got here, but you know I'm still doing okay. So I pull that Dominator with a wimpy ass Chi Wave, and I pay the price here because I'm taking a full touch of the Abyss. I have no recourse. I'm not close enough to stun or do anything about it, so I just take it to the face. But after that, of course, I take out that mob. And then go for this Mind Carver, but not before I get to Fear off. That could be really, really annoying. But it's gone. I'm still okay. I have plenty of sanity. Nothing too big is lost, and so I start proceeding towards these next packs here. And these packs can be particularly dangerous because of the knockup, and because of that, as a healer, I wouldn't be able to do a whole lot for myself if I needed to keep myself up. So it's really important to be careful for these particular packs here, unless you have some really high burst, which as a healer, not really. You don't really have that. So for this pack, I go for the tunnel first, make sure I hit it pretty hard. Because here I don't have much to, there's not a whole lot I can work with. I have to deal with Leaden Foot as well, and while I can roll out of things, I don't want to reposition things, mobs too much, because otherwise things like the tentacle are going to move around, and that would really annoy me. So with the plenty of sanity that I have left, I decided to go back here again, and instead of getting sanity back from killing the elite, I opted to just go for this trash instead. I don't think this really does anything, given how much sanity I already have missing from this. I mean, if I was close to full sanity, then yeah, it would be definitely a good idea for me to backtrack a little bit, but in this case, it wouldn't have made a difference one way or another. At any rate, though, I open up on this dude, this blob, this kind of a pin in the butt blob, which can be a bit troublesome with Leaden Foot, but not if I roll out of it. So as long as you just roll through the boss, you can roll through that slime and consider worry about a lot less stuff. So that thing goes down really quick. Just a couple of Tiger Palms and Sunrise Technique powered blackout kicks, and that thing goes down. So now it's time to go for the next elite here. I'm at about half sanity, 2 bars left, and I open up with a wimpy little Chi Wave, whoop-de-doo. I start some combos. right? See them right there. I have my tea going, and this is one occasion where instead of using Tiger Palms and Blackout Kicks, I can just use my tea and just keep using Sunrise Techniques. Just kind of spam that because the power of that kick is tremendous. So you might as well make the most of it when you're finding only one target. But now it's time for the big guy, time for this area boss. I get right into it with a Crucible. Open up with, of course, a Sunrise Technique. We can see that running on his debuff bar. And I'm starting to go to town on him. And making sure that whenever ads start coming out, I do a couple of spins here and there. They are inflicting, some okay damage on me, but between the spins and popping Chi Wave every now and then, that helps to whittle them down. Sometimes my tentacle will proc to apply some extra damage, but for the most part, it's my spinning crane kick that's doing a majority of the damage here when it comes to smaller mobs, and then from there it's Crucible that does the rest. So I save myself a good bit of time, but after rolling off of here like an idiot, there goes that time that I got for myself. Smooth. So a click, let's go ahead and get out of here. Let's get back to the beginning and then do this again. This time over on the other side. I can't believe I rolled off like that. Like, I felt like I was slick. For a second, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm going real smooth. And whoop, that's it. There goes all that gain time. So anyway, we're going to proceed through here. I'm still looking pretty good, though. I still have plenty of sanity that I don't need to orb before the next elite or so. Things are going to be sketch elsewhere, though. But let's go ahead and get started. First, let's take care of avoiding this shockwave for one thing. And once that shockwave goes off, that shield bearer goes down real quick. I'll let those guys kind of crawl their way over. I'll go ahead and open the door in the meantime, take them out, make sure they're not going to be in my way a little bit later, and then I kebab. I think I missed eating the kebab earlier in the run. So my sanity overall could have been a little bit higher than it is right now. But I'm still in a really good spot. I'm just in a position where it's like, okay, cool, I'm looking good. Let's be careful. Let's not get too overconfident. So I'm pulling a little bit slow again, making sure to take care of the tentacle first because I don't want to deal with that while dealing with this particular elite when my sanity is at the level that it is right now. So I'll go ahead and engage him. Kick it off with a Crucible, apply Sunrise, and I start going to town on him. Look at it, 30%, 20% already. He just gets melted from some good crits. And keep in mind that as a Mistweaver, I have to focus away from Mastery, which was really hard for me to do considering the small amount of gear that was available to me doing just outdoor content for the most part. But by focusing away from Mastery and focusing basically everywhere else, obviously I'm not doing any more healing without this Mastery, but that doesn't really matter. I'm just relying on Goulash for that. And from here I can focus on more DPS related stats and talents and trinkets and so on. Unfortunately, talents, they don't really afford me much except for the Thunder T one, which is huge. That was extremely helpful. Anyway, we're back to this. Let's not forget about that. I mean, these guys were nothing, right? You guys know how to handle these for the most part. Take care of the Dominator first. And from there, the big guys can go down fairly quickly. Just make sure that you stand out at the swirlies, and then you're okay. For this particular pack, I wanted to hit that tentacle really hard, but the Mind Carver also needs to go down first, because if that fear goes off, then, well, that's going to be a lot of damage, and potentially a lot of damage taken if you are not careful. I think it happened to go down like a little bit later than I wanted it to. So now I'm going to pull the next pack, but not before using an orb. I was playing it a little bit paranoid here. So I go ahead and pop the orb. I grab these guys. I happen to one-shot that Dominator, which was awesome. But I pull all these guys over, including the named mob, while the orb is going. So that way I can save a little bit of time, and at the same time, I can get started on working these guys down. And that proved to give me a good number of seconds. I was able to gain a good bit of time with that, because those guys, they just got blousted, right? Blousted. I don't know where that came from. I think that was a childhood thing that I said, I must have picked it up somewhere. So now I'm just kind of going through, cleaning these out, prepping the RP. And I'm not sure if let's see, looks like I don't have time for a Goulash yet, unless I opted to wait here. but I can't always just go ahead and just go. And so I did. I'm actually doing this commentary. Wow, it's like the 21st when I did this commentary, so it's been a while since I've been back at it. So anyway, I go ahead and unload on him as much as I can, but before it does this move here, and I just want to avoid it, because I'm working with Scorched Feet, and when you're working with Hot Feet, I lose some of my control and movement, and normally I would prefer to be up in his face and just kind of melee the crap out of him, but in this case I wanted to be careful. But thankfully, as a healer, he just has so little health that it doesn't really take much to bring him down. So off we go. Time to take on Misha and Rexar. Misha first. Let's go. Come on over. And so I start working this one. Get out of the green stuff as usual, and from there I just use my Tiger Palms. I'm only dealing with one target, so it's not really that big of a thing. I start going to town on that one for just a moment, and it goes down, but not before spawning a bunch of scarabs. I just spin to win. In this case, I think I used one sunrise technique because I just happened to have it off cooldown. It doesn't have a very long cooldown, and as a reminder, I believe when you use Blackout Kick, there's a chance for Sunrise Kick to get off of cooldown. But anyway, down goes that last scarab, and then it's time for the skip. Let's kind of weave through here. And keep in mind that you pretty much need to have Goulash in order to survive this particular run. Otherwise, you're popping cooldowns, but you don't want to pop cooldowns while you're mounted. That can cause some big problems here. So, and I believe this is at one point where someone on stream might have told me that I forgot to click on a door back in the previous area. So I'm going to end up going back there for that. I apologize. But anyway, we're back to this. Since I have a lot of sanity left, and I think I end up using an orb just before this. I wanted to take out these mobs here, so that way once it's time for me to finish, I'm able to easily get back to where I'm going. So with those things down, the future totem is clear, and now I can take on Rexar. So I go ahead and pop this orb. And here, the secret, as always, is to, do some decent damage, make the boars spawn, and then try your best to stop damage on those boars, or at least control your damage in such a way that you don't overlap boars. It can cause some really big problems for you in the end. So right now, you can say I have full sanity. I'm starting to do interrupts on these boars whenever I can. You saw me do that one thing that makes them mez a little bit. I think I was saving my leg sweep. So I took out that other boar. Now I got the other two that come out. That one happens to go down extremely quickly. I'm feeling very fortunate about that. I didn't opt to leg sweep that one after all. Not sure why. I could have, but oh well. I'm really good on sanity. In fact, after I bring them down, I get all my sanity back. I don't even get to see the Shaw Stampede, really, because I just aced that guy. Felt good. Really felt good. You can see on my face, I'm like, oh boy, this is it. Am I going to one-shot this thing? But unfortunately, I need to go back and complete that last objective. And this would have been a fatal mistake. Me being all cocky, I'm like, ooh, I would have been awesome, heck yeah. But if I didn't open up that orphanage or free those people inside the orphanage, then I would have been stuck with the 4 chests and a lot of questions and plenty of disappointment. So thanks to the stream for pointing this out to me. So kind of a bummer. You're going to have to watch me go back. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. I am. Hot feet, watch out. So I didn't realize that not clicking on these was actually a thing. It's something that can make you fail. I could have turned around, actually. I could have turned around and take the totem back to the beginning again. I think it wouldn't have made much of a difference. And I happen to see this black vial, so I'm gonna write this one off as, hey, I made the right decision. I made the right call going back because I really wanted that 100 sanity. Good job, Soul. Good job, man. Whew. So good to be good at this game. So anyway, it's time to take on Thrall. Let's go. But not before having a kebab, apparently. Just one more for the road. Because you never know. I'm confident that there are people who have ruined runs just because they're like, I could do this, but won't be a problem. And then something happens. Something happens, like a DC or just a total cluster happened that messed everything up. So anyway, it's time to take down these boars. Focus on the boars first. Make sure that they get interrupted or stunned or something first. There's the leg sweep finally, because I was like, hey, this boar's not dying fast enough. And now it's just one-on-one. Now it's just me and him. And glory, right? Hopelessness goes off. I just gotta veer off to my right a little bit. That gets canceled out. Promise Power is right over there. I hate Promise Power. It's a really obnoxious power that just makes me do considerably less damage if I'm not standing in it. I mean, it's one thing to stand in it and get a buff. It's another thing altogether when not standing it gives you a significant debuff. So I have 0 orbs left. I am at a little bit over half sanity, but I still have my extra life. Meanwhile, Thrall is around 30% or so. This guy's going down. Let's freaking go. So this run had me feeling pretty good. And in fact, the other 2 runs that I do during this particular stream, which I believe is the Monk and the Mage, I also happen to one-shot those too. So this was like the start of a really, really good vision run day for me. I was really proud of this one. And there we go. There's the achievement. Yes! So this Monk is done. He has done both Stormwind and now Orgrimmar. He's ready to be put on the shelf where he belongs. In hindsight, I think Monks, it turned out to still be, I mean, it was an enjoyable experience doing it and discovering things as doing it as a Mistweaver, but overall, Monks are just not my play. They just don't have the right feel for me. And I guess that's pretty much it for me. So I happen to get Azeroth gear, Joy, but it happened to be a pretty significant upgrade. This happened to be a 45 item level upgrade for me, so hey, go me. Too bad I'm probably not going to give this guy a whole lot of traction anymore, but it's nice to come away from this with a nice souvenir, nice little takeaway along with my achievement. So that's going to be it for this particular run. I hope that this was helpful in some way, shape, or form, and if it was, please like the video. And stay tuned for a little bit more vision coverage. We're starting to wrap things up. But yeah, be sure to also subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft, and we'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.